Yeah, I got tired of, who's the playwright that did Goodbye Girl and Odd Couple?
Neil Simon.
Neil Simon. I got tired of his movies because it's a lot of yelling at each other. And they're funny lines, but it's just a lot of yelling. Especially one called The Out of Towners, I think it was. And I love Jack Lemmon and Sammy Dennis, I think. I watched the first 20 minutes of it and said, this is just going to keep continuing and them yelling at each other. I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with those, but the icon, it didn't bother me.
Yeah,
As much.
that one, and Goodbye Girl is cute and fun, but
There's still a lot of yelling.
there's still a lot of yelling.
Yeah, and they just don't show the hurt, and it's like, okay, there is no hurt out there, so you should feel it, and you should bury it, and blah, 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 blah.
Good morning. How are you?
That's why I
Good, welcome.
GP in a million years.
For sure.
Yeah.
We switched with Kathy.
Yeah.
Could get my name tag on it too.
There you go. Good morning.
I saw you in there somewhere, Jim.
Pretty sure there it is.
No, they do bells at River Hills on the third Sunday now, so she'll be here but late.
She is staying a little longer because she wants to listen to the service.
Right.
As we were thinking, that could be a temporary place for us to meet on their lower level,
Yeah.
but they have service going at the same time.
Upstairs.
Almost the
Upstairs.
same time, yeah.
It overlaps.
Yeah, this is a problem with this is a central location. I mean, when you take Inver Grove and Prior Lake, you know,
In
and,
Lakeville,
yeah, Lakeville.
we'll see.
It occurred to me, though, that if we did use the church at a later time, I wouldn't want to do it in the middle of Sunday. Nobody would come. But if you did it in Sunday evening or Monday, it's so hard to, you know, to make everybody happy.
Like a lot of shopping centers have space,
Right.
you should be able to get a place on one of those.
Yeah, we talked about that hilltop here in Egan, like, what is it? Lexington and Diffley, I want to say. There's the whole shopping center area is empty.
Oh,
Took some
really?
pictures of it, so.
There's something just up the road on 13 too.
Oh, right.
I'm sure there's a lot of different things open on 13. It is, yeah.
The room fell silent.
Well, at least you don't have to dig in your clothing the way I did.
Just like
This is the store that doesn't usually get wonky. Does that work wonky?
It's one word I use.
Is that not a southern word?
No, but it's sure appropriate sometimes.
Is the retreat in the announcements? So I'm assuming that's open to everybody?
Well, it's mostly focused for the council, so that we will have a retreat later with everybody, but we need to.
Okay. I don't remember which.
Would people be welcome to it?
Sure, yeah.
They're always welcome to,
Yeah,
to
they're always
the council meetings. I mean, there's sunshine laws, right, you know, but.
It's pretty cold. I wonder if we should turn the heater on.
Click on this one.
This one is off.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Checking out the address and everything like that, is right, everything like that. So then I decided I just went into compose and look for her name on the list. On my list, Comcast has it too, as a legal representative.
Yeah,
Tried that, it's weird. Same thing.
and you get, why just goodbye?
It came back under the purple, it was just,
It must have been a glitch, maybe.
yeah, I'm sure it was, but it's still, it was just kind of like, okay, what do I do?
One more time. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Good morning. Welcome to all who joined us here in person, and welcome to all who are joining us online. My name is Bryan, and my pronouns are he, him. A few announcements. What we're going to be talking about today is the healing nature of spiritual community and how we might want to think about widening that. Next Sunday, just in time for Thanksgiving get-togethers, our guest speaker, Pam Winthrop-Lauer, is that how I say her last name? Will speak to us about conversation that brings us together. And this is about reviewing the principles of nonviolent communication. She's a certified trainer in nonviolent communication, and she's, I think, planning at least one game. And games are fun. So we'll see what's going on. If anybody's interested in helping myself and Carrie on the speaker selection committee, team, please see us if you'd like to join and just help us. It's more about not necessarily going out and finding people, but more just making sure we're communicating and things like that and have a rhythm for that. And we have, by the way, just as a way of announcement, we have a board council retreat. I said board council, but a council retreat on November the 22nd. If you want more information about that, you can see Kelly, but if anybody's interested, you are always welcome to join that. And then we'll be discussing some things that we'll eventually be talking about with the congregation. So if anybody's interested, and if anybody's ever interested in, shadowing any of the board members and thinking about wanting to take a position in that, we would also be widely happy about, welcoming you into our midst. I think that's really all the announcements I have. Let's open it up to the community.
I have an invitation. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. My exhibit is hung, my first exhibit of Kenyan and Tanzanian pictures at the Burnhaven Library. And I'll have an informal opening. And the only time that I could get the community room is on Black Friday. But I decided, that might not be too bad. So I've reserved it from like 3:30 to 6:30. So if you wanted to come anytime, like between 4 and 6, it'll be informal. It's not an official library event, but I want to show some videos because that'll give you the feeling of being there. And my Rwandan family friends said they will come. And there's quite a big African Somali community around that library. So I'm encouraging people to come and make a discussion, not just me talking, but different people talking about their experiences around Africa and the African diaspora. And I know it's supper time, but I'll have some treats, Brian. I'll have some treats.
I love it. Thank you, Holly. Other announcements?
Just check your newsletter for we got lots of things going on with concerts and stuff like that, so just look at those. And anybody in here not get a newsletter yesterday or the day before? Okay, get your email and get it on the list. Great.
Thanks, Chuck. Others? Well, I'll sort of bring this to a close by one more announcement. It is no surprise to most of you that Advent is like near and dear to my heart. And so the Sunday after next is our first Sunday of Advent. And we have a lot of different things lined up this year for our UU Advent. And the theme is kind of adventure begins with Advent. Ha-ha! I'm learning dad jokes from Chuck and our tech people. Anyway, so we're real excited about that, and also in the midst of that, just to understand that our winter solstice service is on Friday, December the 19th. I did get that date right, hopefully. And then our music festival Sunday for the holidays is on the 21st. So we have a really exciting holiday season coming, and we'd love for you to be a part. Okay, well what I would do is invite you to take a deep, slow, gentle breath. Exhale just as intentionally. Attempt to separate yourself from the chaos that seems to be all around us. Come into each other's presence and let us meditate to this prayer. I invite you to remain seated and join us in our opening words and the lighting of the chalice. Beloveds, we gather this morning in a circle wide enough to hold our joy and our sorrow, our questions and our convictions, our wounds and our healing. This circle is not bound by walls nor limited by geography. It is made of the hearts who choose to be here in body or in spirit.
We
come seeking healing, connection, and renewal. We come to be reminded that community is a shelter where we are known, held, and restored.
In this shared space, this sanctuary made not of stone but of intention, we remember that spiritual community is a living, breathing thing. It grows as we grow. It stretches as we stretch. It heals as we heal.
May this time together mend what is frayed, soften what is hardened, and strengthen what is tender and true within us.
Today, the presentation will invite us to widen the circle even further, to imagine community that lives beyond the traditional frame of brick and mortar, beyond the places we have inherited, toward the places we are called to build with compassion, courage, and creativity.
We
We open ourselves to this vision. May we see with wider eyes, embrace with wider arms, and love with a spirit that knows no boundaries.
We light this chalice for the healing power of community, for the ways we show up for one another in times of joy, of fear, of uncertainty, and for the quiet, steady love that reminds us we are never alone. We light this flame to honor the sacred work that happens not only in sanctuaries, but in living rooms and hospital rooms, in community gardens and classrooms, in online gatherings and quiet conversations, in watch parties and small study and reflection groups, wherever hearts meet hearts in hope. May this flame guide us as we widen our circle, heal together, and carry our shared light into all the places where love is needed most. And so we say together,
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers, to heal with love, to help with compassion, to bless with joy, to serve you, Spirit of freedom, in the fullness of community.
please rise in body and or spirit and join us in our opening hymn, which is number 347. 347.
The Spirit harvest the power, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, our tells His light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with buoyant spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
Please be seated.
This is today's beloved community moment. In this moment, we pause to remember what beloved community truly asks of us. It calls us not only to care for those who gather here today, but also to reach beyond these familiar walls, beyond tradition, beyond comfort, beyond what we have always done, to those whose lives, voices, and needs may differ from our own. Beloved community is not a place we inherit. It is a practice we choose again and again. It invites us to welcome people who do not find ease in large gatherings, who struggle with anxiety or loneliness, who find depth and meaning not in pews, but in small circles, quiet conversations, shared meals, or online community. It reminds us that spiritual nourishment is not one size fits all. It challenges us to open our hearts to those who do not look like us, who do not speak or believe or worship like us, who carry different stories and different wounds. For in each person, the sacred is alive, and in each connection, healing can begin. Today, we reaffirm our commitment as Unitarian Universalists to widen the circle of care, to see the holy in diverse forms of gathering, to build community that is spacious, adaptable, and brave, to extend compassion to those on the margins, and to meet people where they truly are, not where tradition has taught us to expect them to be. May we become a community where all can belong, all can rest, and all can find a path toward healing in the ways that honor their unique journey. May it be so. Blessed be.
It's the time in our congregation where we invite you, if you feel moved to do so, to come forward and light a candle, share a joy and or concern, and then at the end I'll light a final candle for all the unspoken joys and concerns.
So Annabelle has an eye appointment this week, which is not that big of a deal. We might do some occupational therapy, vision therapy, but we also get to go to a cardiologist referral soon. Physical therapy is revealing that as she's exerting energy, instead of her pulse going up, it's dropping to almost like dangerously low and then spiking. So we'll go to cardiology and get that looked at.
I've got a lot to cover with this candle. Let's see, my sister-in-law, her cancer, colon cancer surgery went well. Then she had an infection follow-up from a tear in her colon. Then for my son, who's threw his back out, his significant other who dislocated her shoulder, totaling his car. So, and let's see, for my brother-in-law with Parkinson's, just hoping he has a good day. And my niece's husband, who has an immune deficiency, just again hope for a good day.
This is a candle for the Open Door Pantry. As a congregation, we raised $300. And Jim and I volunteered there yesterday they have a new Saturday walk-in pantry, they're calling it, in response to the shutdown and the SNAP benefits being delayed. Anyway, it was quite an experience, and the families coming in and the people coming in, and it was, that's a really good place.
This is for my mother. We had to take her to emergency room a couple days ago. And also for my sister, who did the brunt of that, and her husband. It's good to have family. Then my sister was feeling a little off, so at about 10 o'clock, Kathy and I, and thank you, Kathy, for coming with, went and swapped places at the ER room, and then actually got to take her home. So she's still, memory is an issue stuff. And as far as the Open Door, that is only open again next weekend, and then they're taking a pause and just waiting to see what happens in January on our next renewal of our budget.
Just thank everyone for their outreaching for communities and that sort of thing, and also mention that I've a couple of weeks ago and also today I will be visiting some detainees, and that's an experience I can talk to people about if they're interested in, but definitely people that can use some support, and I've been surprised how encouraging their perspectives have been to me. So unexpected sources of encouragement, I guess, there.
This candle is for cats who are soft, warm, and cute, but also very gross.
Thanks for not sharing.
Did they present you something?
This candle is for the hope that Iran takes the high road.
This candle is a joy. Bryan's favorite time of the year might be Advent, but mine is Thanksgiving. I just love Thanksgiving because I think it's the healthiest, and I don't know. So every November I try to change my Facebook cover every day to a new gratitude quote. And today's quote was from Thich Nhat Hanh about gratitude and sadness cannot exist at the same time in your heart. And so if you try to feel gratitude, it helps with sadness. And I got a late start on it this year, and so it's only been 2 or 3 days I've been doing these new covers. And I just feel my mood elevate just naturally. And, I start looking around at my house and my lovely husband and my wonderful kids and enough food without worrying about it, and all the just normal things you take for granted, and if you pay attention to them, you get so happy. So my joy is gratitude.
I'm glad you love Thanksgiving because I know where you can get a turkey.
Speaking of gratitude and cute cats, our son and his girlfriend fostered a puppy this week. He's so cute.
But I was afraid it was going to be a foster fail, but I don't think so because there is some grossness along with that. Or not gross, but just hard work.
Yeah.
And they already have 2 dogs.
They have 2 dogs and a cat already. Boy.
No adults yet.
Trying to keep up with Megan then, huh?
Anybody online that I need to light a candle for?
Yeah, I should give you a little update. The last communication I had from my friend Yatin in Arusha, Tanzania, said that things were calm.
Okay.
So compared to the way they were, that's joy.
Right.
One more. This is a joy. I was so happy to be with Indivisible on the bridge over 35E in Portland yesterday. The gale was about 40 miles an hour and blowing us, and we had to just put all our weight against the big signs we held over, and lots of honks and thumbs up, and it was very, very rewarding.
Well, I'm going to light a candle. Many of you know that my cousin was supposed to visit on her family's way to Washington State. But my second cousin, her daughter, is having a rather difficult pregnancy, so that trip had to be canceled. So this is for Karen. And then, speaking of cats, Kathy's responsible for this because I've never had cats, but I adopted 2 who found another home because they didn't like me. But our 2 cats are amazing. Though gross, we have no mice in our barn. And for this we are thankful, because where there is grain, there are mice. And they did really well at the vet this weekend. And now I'll light a final candle for all the joys and concerns that remain unspoken. May we know that whatever befalls us in life, we are held in the loving embrace of this community. And now we say together, for all the joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken,
we hold you in our hearts.
I have 2 readings. That's blurry. Hold on. I have 2 readings. They're both rather short poems, but I couldn't decide between the 2, so here you go. More is often better. I wouldn't say always, but more often. The first one is entitled, I Live My Life in Widening Circles by Rainier Maria Rilke. It's actually originally written in German. This is an English version by Anita Barrows and Joanna Macy. I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not ever complete the last one, but I give myself to it. I circle around God, that primordial tower. I have been circling for thousands of years, and I still don't know. Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? And the second one is called Widening the Circle, detecting a theme here, by Spirit of a Hippie. I'm partial to that. Her name is, that's her pseudonym, but her name is Mary Ann Byrne. May we all come together with kindness and compassion. May healing rise like dawn light over a waiting world. May every heart expand, a quiet tide of love, reaching farther, widening the circle, until all are held. So you guessed it. The topic is about widening the circle. And what a beautiful circle of candles we have to start this. I didn't even plan that. Isn't that nice? So, the title of my presentation is what I already said, which is Widening the Circle, the Healing Nature of Spiritual Community. But I'm going to start with a question for us all to ponder. And that question is, how do we widen the circle so that no one stands alone? In good educational fashion, I'll repeat the question. How do we widen the circle so that no one stands alone? As we continue to ponder that question, to which there are a myriad of answers that are already here and yet to come, I'm going to start with a little story. As many of you know, several years ago, I took the opportunity to become the pastor of a mostly online community. And it was a sharp learning curve for me, and I discovered lots of things that worked for me and things that didn't work for me, and it was an adventure. Foreshadow to Advent. Advent is an adventure. Anyway. But one of the things that happened to me early on was that there was a message on Facebook. Now, I know we have a wide array of feelings about social media, we, including myself, but this is several years ago, and that was one of the primary ways in which we reached out to widen the circle of our community. And so I received a message on Facebook, on our church Facebook page, and it was all in Portuguese. How did I know it was in Portuguese? Because I knew it wasn't Spanish and it wasn't French, and it was something close. Oh, and it wasn't Italian. So I, did Google Translate. And it was from a young man in Brazil, and he had done Google searches and found our church and started to participate. We had 4,000 viewers every week, either live or recorded. So that's a lot to keep up with, and I'm really glad that he took the opportunity to contact me. And I won't give you the long story, but ultimately we decided to have a conversation, which was challenging because he didn't really speak English, and of all the languages I know, Portuguese is not one of them. So we took some time to just Google Translate back and forth to each other, which is in of itself widening the circle, as annoying as it was, right? But I found out lots of things. One thing in particular is that he has an incredible voice. Just a musical, if you ever watch those snippets on video on YouTube or whatever of The Voice and people auditioning, it was just like one of those awe moments when he decided to sing and send me a little video. Now, it was all in Portuguese, but that doesn't matter. His voice was amazing. And ultimately, the reason he would participate in our church, even though he does not speak English, was because he was able to Google Translate a lot of the things on our screen, like Jim and Dan put up on the screen, to realize that our community was totally accepting, and he'd never experienced a community of faith that would accept him for who he is, because he happened to be gay. And it was very, very difficult for him to find a spiritual home in Brazil. He lived in Sao Paulo. And it's still, even a rather large city, I think was the capital or is the capital of Brazil.
No, but it was the largest city in the world.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. I didn't put that in my notes. Anyway, so it still was very difficult in a large city to find a place where he could belong without hearing a pastor say, "You're going to go to hell if you're gay." Please strike that from the record. I didn't say that like that, right? Okay, I don't believe that, obviously. But over the course of time, he ended up finding a way of learning a little bit of English and learning some of the hymns, and then he would record them over and over until he got it right, and then he would have us play his song during our service. It was pre-recorded because, he practiced and he was too nervous to do it live, but eventually he would come and join us and just sing live. And then we all said, we'll sing in Portuguese. That's fine too. We would love to hear that. And he became a real viable part of our music ministry and showed up every Sunday, started leading hymns from the screen. I've never met this person in person. And I'm not using his name because I didn't ask permission, but the story is still important. And that is the crux of one of the points that I would like to share with you about widening the circle. How do we widen the circle so no one stands alone? Over the course of time, in the progressive circles that I've been a part of, we always think, about things like buy local, think global, all of that. And really, really always focused on local community in especially congregational settings. It was about, okay, look around, how many people are showing up, can we still do this, is this sustainable, all of that. But one of the pieces that technology has made available to us, no matter how we get frustrated with technology, is the ability to create outreach programs to try to assure that no one stands alone. I later found out all kinds of things about this young man, including suicidal thoughts, ideation, etc. And with my counseling background, I was on that. But it's hard to refer somebody to a local counselor in Brazil when you're not connected to that community. But we worked through it as best we could. But it became really integrally important to me to consider how much of a difference this fledgling congregation with all of these online views but nobody meeting in person, how important it was to people. Now, I'm one of those people that believes not in one exclusive way of doing anything. So I today have been doing some research with the acting dean at United Seminary, as well as a couple of other people like Phil Lund, and we've been looking at different ways of widening the circle in the UU traditions. So this is an ongoing set of research. How do we widen the circle? How do we build a longer table instead of building a wall? How do we look beyond some of the things that may not feed us, especially in the methodology of delivery, like maybe we really get something out of local community and being able to come together because people who need people are the best people in the world. But there are other ways that people can not stand alone. And so as we move forward in the next several months and start to decide where we are going as a congregation, one of the challenges is to continue to ask that question. How can we widen our circle so that no one stands alone? By the time today is over, hopefully you'll remember that question. How many times do we repeat that in educational settings till people really get it? I don't remember. 7. Okay. Well, I'm going to start counting and see how many times I say it. One of the other pieces is that I think that there's a challenge for a lot of people in society in general with technology. Because one of the pieces of it is that for many people it's a barrier because we've become frustrated, we've felt it to be cumbersome, and maybe technology and distance worship for you is not a thing, and that's perfectly fine. So I think it's a both and, online ministry and in-person ministry. There are also these new waves of things called watch parties. And interestingly enough, this is not a watch party, but there are several people that continue to grow in my local circle in Waseca who have now started to bring food to my house for me to deliver to the food pantry. And when I go to the food pantry, they say, well, who should I write down for this? I say, Dakota Unitarian Universalist Church. Because I'm a part of that. I'm a member here. I don't have a problem with that. And then all of a sudden people are like, well, Dakota Unitarian Universalist, where is that? Oh, I'm not going to drive an hour. Well, I do. No, I don't say that. And so there is already starting this idea of having a group of people that meets on Sunday mornings to watch us and be a part of us. It's more than watching, but watch party is the term that's being used, but I don't know, maybe there's a better term, but I don't know, I like to party, so maybe we'll keep that. But one of the things that lots of churches are doing, and I don't know that it's happening in the UU, Phil London and I had conversations, he's like, I don't really know anybody that's doing that on a regular basis. Maybe during COVID that was happening, but of course during COVID you didn't want to get together in a group unless it's a family. But there are lots of different modalities of getting together and creating local community while being connected to a larger community of people who have such love in their heart that they don't want anybody to stand alone. Because we're better together. I don't know where I learned all these cliches all at once, no. And there are other reasons why we can get together is to learn. Like one of my things that I was going to ask at the council retreat, so this is fast forward, is that I know that part of my background is obviously teaching, and I'd love to create some RE programs that I can lead to help people learn about things. And there have been several people that have contacted me and said, okay, so you know the Bible, right? So let me get this straight. I'm like, well, you're talking to the wrong person if you want to get it straight. But, thanks, Chuck. You're teaching me all these bad habits.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck.
But I would love to open it up to people to say, hey, not that I want to, implement that as the main thing, but like just so people can understand why people are arguing the way they are about things and what are the historical backgrounds of it. But that could be a small group of people who are just learning about something. But it also could lead to a small group somewhere else that's creating missions, like the group that is forming in Waseca, where these people just come together and bring food, and then we take it to the food pantry, and it's like we're doing a mission group, but we don't even call it that. So sometimes the buzzwords are the things that keep us distant from these widening the circle ideas, because we don't want to think of the term, I know I don't even like the term committee, so I try to use the word team. But one of the pieces of intentionality is that we don't necessarily have to have a name for it to begin it. What we just have to do is do it. And so now all of a sudden I have people who are bringing me all different kinds of things, and then I load them up in my truck and I take them to the food pantry, and the lady says, oh, you're back again. That Dakota church, man, they just do this. And y'all didn't even know it was happening. Right? So you have an outreach and you didn't know. Surprise! But I'm pretty sure that nobody's upset about that, right? How do we look towards the future to widen the circle so no one stands alone? Waseca County, as far as it is from here, has needs. And we were talking about the open door earlier. There are local places here that have needs. People need things, especially in light of current political situations. How do we create and sustain groups that are involved in, public displays of protest? Well, the different kinds of rallies that have recently happened because we communicated with technology. Am I right? Most people learn about the different kinds of civil rights marches. I'm trying to use terms here that are acceptable on camera. We learn because we talk to each other, and we are a large community. So we're acting local, but we're thinking global, and we're getting people involved. My underlying question is why can't a congregation be the same way? When we talk about numbers and we look around and say, oh, I know, and it's happened here before where, it's a really nice weekend, and because we don't believe that we're going to go to that bad place because we don't go to church, people take it and go do fun things, right? And we look around, there's 5 people here. But we're kind of like a victim of capitalistic thinking, whether or not we understand that, because it's like we're all about the numbers. It's ingrained in our society. But I don't want you to think that that's part of this ideology that I have about asking you how we can widen the circle. It's not about numbers. It's about people not feeling alone. I know that many of you are just as furious as I am about the myriad of anti-trans things that are happening at the governmental level and at the societal level. What does it look like to be able to reach out in different ways and widen the circle to let people know we love you just the way you are today, the way you are tomorrow, the way you are yesterday, and we accept you into this community, and how can we support you so that you don't feel like you're alone? I know the hearts of every person, almost every person in here, to the level that I know that you care about people. I'm not saying I know your hearts, but what I'm saying is I know that every person that I see around this room and those people that I can't see that are online, that your hearts care about people. Otherwise, we wouldn't be coming together in spiritual community because we care about each other. What does it look like to extend that beyond the brick and mortar ideology? And yes, of course, Zoom is great, but what does it look like to have an interactive program online with people? What does it look like whenever a watch party becomes a local extension of a congregation? Well, what ended up happening with the young man that I referenced earlier is that they got together and just started a church. And what they did was they participated in hours that we had at the beginning for the announcements and during the presentation, what we called a sermon. But then they had their own music locally, and they had their own joys and concerns, which we called it something. It was just prayers of the community, but it's the same thing. But they tuned in for the larger community, but they had a local community doing local things. And one of their complaints was, well, your music's kind of boring, so we're going to do our own music. And this is a church where, I'm a traditionalist, so we had organ music and good old hymnology. I mean, ours is contemporary compared to that church. And so they're like, well, these are all people who are like, well, we like upbeat music. Great. So they get to do their own music. It's not like a choice between two things. We're also caught in that binary thing in our society where it's got to be either this or this. We don't have to have just this or this. What would it look like, for example, for us not to have just two political parties in power? That's a different conversation. I can say that without getting in trouble. It's just a question. But also, what would it look like if we opened ourselves to realizing, well, hey, there are some people that just come in for joys and concerns because that's what they need. And I'll give you another example. I have permission to share this one. My friend Aziz, who is an immigrant, lives in South Carolina. Also very difficult to find an accepting community in South Carolina. And I lived in Savannah, Georgia, so I know that's on the border. It's very difficult. And so every Sunday morning, just so you know, this young man texts me and say, this is what I need you to pray for me for today. And he did that this morning. And I said, I will. And it doesn't mean that I have to change my theology of prayer or to even engage him in his theology of prayer. Prayer is like, and I rarely quote a pope, but when the Pope said, first you pray for the hungry and then you feed them. That's how prayer works. Okay, I can stand behind that theology of prayer. And, obviously taking food to the food pantry and other things that we do. But that's a distance ministry that is a de facto ministry of this congregation because I'm the pastor of this congregation and I'm praying for somebody that you've never met. And is that okay? I hope so. Because you care about people. You love people. I continue to say this congregation has such a profound sense of love that I couldn't even imagine not being a part of this group anymore. It's the only place where I have felt totally accepted for who I am. Imagine how many people out there don't have the blessing that I have, that we have a feeling like they belong to a community where I can disagree with somebody and love them and actually have a conversation with them even though I may not necessarily agree with them. And at the end of the day, we get together and have treats. Gotta throw that in. What does it look like to widen the circle so no one stands alone? It dawned on me when I was preparing this that I myself am a part of that widening circle. And as I said, 2 things I'm doing that you didn't even know were a part of that. What you're contributing. Because my name is associated with this congregation and I'm a member. And I've already been helping widen the circle on behalf of this congregation. So, you probably already know the question I'm going to leave you with. How do we widen the circle so that no one stands alone?
I did it again. Here I go. Technical issues. Okay. All right.
Discussion?
I'm pondering the idea of extending our community online like you had. What was the name of the woman who used to do that? She had an online church, UU
Church
Church?
of the Larger Fellowship.
Thank you.
Oh, Meg Riley.
I don't know if she still does that anymore.
I think it's out there, yeah.
Is
I
it?
don't think Meg is doing it.
Yeah, she
Oh.
retired, I think, from it. But, yeah.
Well, I can tell you at Unity Church in St. Paul, live streams their 9 a.m. service, and then it's online all week, and they are getting as many people online now as they get in the pews.
So I wonder about the interactive part of, how do we make it, okay, so there's people watching. How do we make that more interactive? And I think there is something to be said about, during treats, we just kind of talk with each other. How can we make that interactive online? How do we? So
That's a good question.
It's the interaction part that
I wonder about.
Phil, I'm sure, most people probably know who Phil Lund is, who just retired, well, not really, because now he's the pastor at the DUUC Church in St. Cloud. And what he does is he actually, I'm not necessarily saying the pastor has to do this, but for all the people that come online, they all go to a room, somebody goes to a room and continues the Zoom and they have a conversation together while the people locally have a conversation. I'm not saying that's the only answer, but that is one way that one group is doing it. But I think, again, I worry about the mental health of people that don't come together, that want to come together. There are people that don't. There are people that just want to be able to do this from the safety and comfort of their own home.
Or have to.
Or have to. But then about the people that want to be with people. Like, I'm an extrovert. I can't imagine being without people. So we would have to problem solve a lot of those things. But if it's something that we're concerned about, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. We just need to be adventurous.
Mm-hmm. And part of the reaching out, we had someone actually pop in, put a message out or on our chat, and then they left, so we're not sure how to reach them. However, I just want to go ahead and go back to light a candle for the person, and I don't know if that person is watching via YouTube and hopped on Zoom, but know that if you need to reach out, we are here. You can reach out to Bryan or us or the admin account. So we're here.
Looks like Barbara has her hand up there.
Yeah, excuse me, I do. I was on that bridge yesterday and I woke up with a roaring headache today from all the wind. But anyway, why don't we all donate to food shelves and put it put Dakota UU in their book?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Amen.
Yeah. And that's what I'll be doing with the collection that was taken for Open Door. It will be from Dakota UU.
Yeah.
You know, they said on my behalf, it's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. So I did it and then came back and said, hey, I did this. Nobody's come after me yet, so good.
There you go.
Just bought your
I don't approve that statement about don't ask permission.
Yeah,
ask for forgiveness. I don't know.
It depends on the situation.
Exactly.
Some churches take up a collection every Sunday that goes out the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then, their name goes on that.
And speaking of money, not that I'm wanting to talk about that, but just to kind of keep in mind that the fact was the church that I was in, 80% of our budget came from people that we never met in person. But we didn't ask people for money. They just gave. And so that's a very interesting thing. And interesting, we had people in different countries giving, which ended up, sort of translating to pennies to us, but that's not the point. People felt like they wanted to give what they wanted to give. And because it was an explicitly Christian congregation, part of that understanding is that even there's a biblical story where a woman comes and gives what the equivalent would be today as a penny, and the scripture says that that person gave more than the rich person that gave $5. I mean, I'm really translating that a lot, but just trying to, let you know. So it's interesting looking at it from a financial perspective as well. Well, I know there's a lot of things we could continue. The whole point of this was to get thought-provoking conversation going and not just today. So, and of course, we can certainly talk more over treats. And at this point, let's turn to our closing hymn, which is 121. 121. Please rise if you are able.
We'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, where peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where hopes of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my peoples we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
And as we prepare to meditate to our postlude, I ask once again, how do we widen the circle so that no one stands alone? May we go forth and eat treats.
Yeah. When our son was little and coming to this church, and whenever we had a long one. We had 2 long ones today.
They were fun.
Kathy?
Yes.
You want to take a look at this song with Madison there behind? Remember, this flips it.
Right.
This way.
And so you're thinking that
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't know how
have a chance to see that video of the guy singing? Yeah, so, yeah, I think what we might do is go back to the beginning, and maybe Kathy and I can learn it well enough to sing it one time through, and then have the group sing along.
Because I do think the difficulty is just there's a lot of different rhythms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And I don't know if you wouldn't mind watching the video and just see if the guy sings it in pretty close to the rhythm, because I'm not great at singing the rhythm. Okay. Yeah, all right.
I play in a bell choir, so if I didn't, I'd be in really trouble.
Yeah. So, here, one more time.
Okay, come on. I got some.
Yeah, what's the exception? You have some reasons.
You know what I said?
Yeah.
Cinnamon rolls.
Or maybe you were paying.
I don't know if it will, but what I figured,
Yeah, and so
Bryan was saying,
this next weekend, we're having our council retreat, and we're going to talk about whether we're taking a deal with you regular. So if you have any thoughts or expectations,
I'm just wondering if this person just said, they hopped in thinking they could
recommend we offer you
time right. But they might have been watching on YouTube. So that's why. Yeah. But the messages go away. They'll show up. We'll have
both of these two ingredients. Every single dish he ever prepared, and the girl next to me, every single time ourselves, like we didn't want to be ungrateful. We are full garbage, but we'll eat anything. Which dish people don't eat. I mean, both marvels how he came up with all these recipes each and every week. He must have. I mean, every single week. He fed us a free dinner. We don't want to be ungrateful. We didn't dare have anything to say anything. George just rolled. We ate it. I just mustn't do it. I just tried to like. He's not going to be here.
yeah. So, all right.
Lots of dessert. I don't know. I could have brought my own meal.
Tell us some I can do on guitar. Yeah. All right. And then the last Sunday before Christmas, we do our hymn sing thing, where Carol sing, or we do a lot of carols that are in the book.
Ain't that America?
So,
no, it's not. It's actually quite the opposite of America.
We always close with lighting candles and doing silent night. You and Suki are both.
Oh, really?
So cool with that. I play guitar on Silent Night and Kathy sings in German. And I thought if we had cello and violin kind of do with guitar or intro or a verse in between or whatever, I think that would be so sweet. Yeah, love it. Sounds great.
Sounds fun.
So do you know
Yeah, awesome, nice. I'm excited for that. I'm a fan.
Yeah. I should give you my email and.
Well, I read something the other day, we want to have a sustainable,
Oh, okay,
not so much methane, that none of us
Kitty
ever
get one?
eat beef.
Oh, we have to eat all of it first.
Yeah,